feedback loop that we have in our buildings is occupancy. Who is in your building? How many people are in your building? Where are they going? How does that influence fan speed and chilled water temperatures? Ramp down and ramp up. How do we ultimately utilize machine learning algorithms so that the data that we collect on a daily basis can be learned, first remembered, then learned, and then utilized for the next day to figure out how to run that building more efficiently. When we sit, we literally have learned how to measure thermal inertia. Thermal inertia is, by definition, how quickly a building cools off or heats up at the end of the day. And that determines when you can ultimately ramp down your chillers or decrease your fan speed, which ultimately will save electricity. And invariably, we at Rudin, we run about 10 million, own and run about 10 million square feet of office space. It would be a 6 o'clock ramp down. Well, now suddenly with DBOS, we're able to move that first to 5 o'clock, then to 4 o'clock, some days 3:30, based upon the occupancy. Now, each hour is worth about $3,500 to $4,000 of energy on a daily basis. And we're on track to save about $1 million a year in OpEx in a single building by just understanding and expressing data in a way that is intuitive so that we're not sitting there shivering and putting our coats on because it's too cold, but the level of comfort that we're required to deliver to our tenants by lease is delivered utilizing the least amount of BTUs or electrons or whatever form of energy that we're using. Now the second piece is we created a tenant track. And these are my favorite meetings. And we really didn't set out to do this, but things happen and you ask questions and you answer those questions and you get to the next one. So we began to bring some of our large corporate tenants in to look at DBOS. And we started to show them what their base to peak load ratios are. Now a base to peak load ratio is very simple. You take how much energy, electricity you're using at the peak when everybody's in there chugging, making money at 2:30 in the afternoon versus 3 o'clock in the morning. And what you see is that companies are at 3 o'clock in the morning are burning 60, 70, 80% of their peak load when no one is in the office. Now, the beauty of that is ultimately when people see that, and it's usually, the boss is sitting here and the facilities manager is sitting here and they see the chart, and this guy whispers over, what the heck are you doing? But it's what was said earlier, people leave stuff on. And unless you can express that data, and if you're interested in being in the real estate business or you're already in the real estate business, you're really not think again, you're really in the data expression and management business. That's the business that we are in today. So now suddenly we've got feedback loops, we give those feedback loops to our tenants, and then ultimately they can figure out ultimately what tools they need to modify that behavior within that space. And that's the most exciting piece of what DBOS is giving us back, because people are beginning to modify their behavior because they see it's money.
So this is really